Have you ever wondered why some people live vibrant, independent lives well into their 90s, while others begin to fade much sooner after 75? It's a question that touches every one of us, especially as we or our loved ones grow older. Most people assume that decline after a certain age is just the natural order of things. But the truth is, many of the most common causes of death after 75 aren't inevitable. They're preventable, and that's the key. By understanding these risks early, before they become life-altering, you give yourself a powerful opportunity to stay healthier, stronger, and more independent in your later years. In this video, we'll uncover the 5 most common causes of death among Americans over the age of 75. These are the real threats, often hiding in plain sight, that quietly chip away at vitality and quality of life. But we're not just going to name them. We'll explore how each condition begins, why it's especially dangerous in older adults, and most importantly, what you can do right now to reduce your risk. Because this isn't about fear, it's about empowerment. You deserve to enjoy the years ahead with clarity, strength, and dignity. So please stay with me until the end. One small insight, one smart change, could give you or someone you love more time, more moments to walk, laugh, and connect fully with life. Let's begin with the number one cause, and one that affects millions often without warning. Let's begin with the most common and perhaps most underestimated threat: heart disease. It remains the number one cause of death for Americans over 75. Yet for many, the first real sign of trouble is a trip to the emergency room, a heart attack, a stroke, a moment that changes everything. What makes heart disease especially dangerous is how quietly it develops. A little fatigue here, some shortness of breath there. Maybe you've told yourself, that's just part of getting older. But often, those little signs are the heart's early cry for help, one that's easy to ignore until it becomes too loud to silence. At its core, the heart is a muscle, and like all muscles, it gets weaker without proper care. Over the years, daily habits, some so small we don't even notice, can wear it down. A diet heavy in processed foods and sodium, long stretches of sitting with little movement, stress that lingers without relief, skipped checkups and silent high blood pressure. High blood pressure, in particular, is a sneaky enemy. It rarely causes symptoms, yet it slowly damages the arteries, overworks the heart, and makes every beat a little more strained. And because it's painless, many seniors don't even realize they have it until they're in crisis. Diet plays a huge role, too. As we age, the body becomes more sensitive to what we eat. Saturated fats and excess salt can harden arteries and reduce blood flow. But nourishing the heart isn't just about restriction, it's also about support. Think of foods like leafy greens, avocados, walnuts, salmon, and berries. These aren't just healthy choices, they're medicine for your heart. They reduce inflammation, support circulation, and help your arteries stay flexible, not stiff and brittle. Movement is just as vital. You don't need to run marathons. A 20-minute walk, some gentle stretches, or even dancing around your living room gets your heart pumping. It's about consistency, not intensity. And here's something worth remembering. Heart disease isn't just about genetics. Many people believe, it runs in my family, so there's nothing I can do. But studies show that lifestyle plays a far bigger role than most people think. You have influence, real, measurable power, over your heart health. Imagine this. A woman named Eleanor started walking for 15 minutes each morning at age 77. She added more fresh vegetables to her meals and learned how to manage her stress with breathing exercises. At 82, she's not only thriving, she's inspiring her grandkids to move more and eat better. She didn't need a gym membership or a strict diet. She just started paying attention. That's the kind of change we're talking about here. Not perfection, just progress. If you've been putting off a blood pressure check, or if you've been meaning to eat healthier but haven't started yet, consider this your gentle nudge. Your heart is counting on you. Have you or someone you love been affected by heart disease? Share your story in the comments. It might encourage someone else to take action today. Now let's shift gears and talk about the second leading cause of death after 75. One that can happen in a single second, but change your life forever. Now let's talk about something that doesn't always get the attention it deserves. Falls. You might be surprised to learn that falls are one of the leading causes of injury-related deaths for adults over 75. Not heart attacks, not infections. Falls. It happens quickly. One missed step, a slippery floor, a dizzy spell. Suddenly, a routine walk to the bathroom turns into an ambulance ride, a hospital stay, and months, sometimes years of recovery. But here's what makes it even more heartbreaking. Most falls are preventable. What many people don't realize is that our bodies change gradually over time. Muscle mass declines. Balance becomes less steady. Our reaction times slow down. But because the change is so slow, we often don't feel it happening until one fall reveals just how fragile we become. And sadly, that one fall can change everything. A broken hip can mean 6 weeks in bed, 6 weeks without walking, 6 weeks of losing strength, independence, and confidence. Many seniors never fully recover. Some even become permanently reliant on caregivers or assisted living after a single fall. But it doesn't stop there. The fear of falling often creates a vicious cycle. After a fall, or even a near fall, many people start to limit their movements. They avoid stairs, skip walks, and stay inside more often. That fear leads to less movement, which leads to weaker muscles, which increases the risk of falling again. It's a quiet spiral that steals independence in slow motion. But there's good news. You can stop that spiral and even reverse it. Strengthening your legs and core is one of the most powerful ways to protect yourself. You don't need intense workouts. Chair exercises, balance drills, or even practicing standing on one leg while holding onto a countertop can make a real difference. Making your home safer is another easy win. Simple fixes like installing grab bars in the bathroom, improving lighting in hallways and stairwells, removing loose rugs or clutter, adding non-slip mats in the shower. These small adjustments can dramatically reduce your risk. One area many seniors overlook: medication side effects. Some common prescriptions, especially for blood pressure, anxiety, or sleep, can cause dizziness or drowsiness. If you've ever stood up and felt lightheaded or noticed your balance is off, talk to your doctor. A quick review of your medications might uncover a hidden culprit. Here's a story that might feel familiar. After his wife passed, a man named Robert stopped going for his daily walks. He didn't feel motivated. A few months later, he tripped over a rug while reaching for a book and fractured his hip. What he once thought was just aging turned into a long recovery filled with regret. Today, Robert lives with his daughter, and he often says, "If I had just kept moving, I might still be walking on my own." You don't have to follow that path. Take a moment to check in with yourself. Do you feel steady when getting out of bed? Have you noticed a change in your balance or strength? Are there small hazards in your home you've gotten used to ignoring? Awareness is the first step to prevention. Protecting yourself from falls isn't just about avoiding accidents. It's about preserving your independence, your freedom to move, and your confidence in daily life. Have you ever had a close call or a fall that changed how you move? Share your story in the comments. It might help someone else stay safe. Next, let's take a deep breath and talk about something we don't notice until it's gone: our ability to breathe easily. Let's take a moment to appreciate something we often take for granted: our breath. With every inhale and exhale, your lungs are quietly working to keep you alive. But as we age, breathing can become more difficult, more strained, and sometimes more dangerous than we realize. After the age of 75, respiratory diseases become one of the top causes of death, not because the lungs give out overnight, but because subtle changes go unnoticed for too long. You might feel a little more winded walking to the mailbox, or find yourself clearing your throat more often. These signs may seem minor, but they can be early warnings of bigger issues ahead. One major culprit is COPD, or chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. It's a term that includes emphysema and chronic bronchitis. What it really means is this: over time, your airways become inflamed and narrowed, and it gets harder and harder to breathe. COPD doesn't happen overnight. It often begins with a persistent cough, mild wheezing, or a feeling of tightness in the chest. But many people dismiss these symptoms, chalking them up to just getting older. Another serious threat is pneumonia. It might seem like just a bad cold or a lingering cough at first, but for older adults, pneumonia can be life-threatening. Your immune system naturally weakens with age, which means even a minor respiratory infection can spiral quickly into hospitalization. And sadly, for some, a full recovery never comes. And it's not just illness. The air we breathe matters more than we think. Pollutants, dust, mold, smoke, even things inside your home like pet dander or poor ventilation can silently harm your lungs. Years of low-grade exposure can add up, especially for people with asthma or other breathing sensitivities. But here's the hopeful part. You're not powerless. Regular movement is one of the best gifts you can give your lungs. Walking, stretching, gentle yoga, these help expand your lungs fully, improve oxygen flow, and keep your respiratory muscles strong. Good indoor air quality makes a difference too. Use an air purifier if you can. Crack a window for fresh air. Keep your home free of dust and mold. Avoid smoke from candles or wood-burning stoves when possible. And don't overlook your vaccines. Many older adults don't realize how crucial it is to stay up to date on flu shots, pneumonia vaccines, and others that protect your lungs. These aren't just about preventing colds. They're about preventing life-threatening complications. Here's something you might relate to. A woman named Carol loved working in her garden, but over the years her breathing got harder. She stopped going outside as much. She assumed it was just aging. Eventually, she was diagnosed with moderate COPD, but it wasn't too late. With a few changes, gentle walking, medications, and filtering her home's air, Carol was back tending her roses and breathing easier every day. Sometimes small adjustments can bring big relief. So let me ask you, do you find yourself short of breath more often? Have you been coughing more than usual? These small clues might be worth a conversation with your doctor. You deserve to breathe with ease, to feel strong and energized, not tired and short-winded. If this resonated with you, leave a comment and type "breathe easy" below. Let's support each other in staying strong. Now let's move on to something that strikes quickly and leaves lasting effects if we're not prepared. It's time to talk about stroke. A stroke doesn't ask permission. It doesn't give a warning. It arrives suddenly, changing everything in an instant. For people over 75, a stroke is one of the most common causes of death and disability. But what makes it even more heartbreaking is that many strokes are preventable. Up to 80%, in fact, according to health experts. That means for most people, a stroke doesn't have to be the inevitable outcome of aging. It's often the result of silent risks, risks that can be managed if we know what to look for. So what is a stroke, really? In simple terms, a stroke happens when blood flow to the brain is blocked or when a blood vessel bursts. Within minutes, brain cells begin to die. Cells responsible for movement, speech, memory, and thought. Depending on the severity, the aftermath can range from temporary confusion to permanent paralysis or even death. But what makes strokes so dangerous is how quietly the risks build. One of the biggest culprits is high blood pressure. And the tricky part is, most people don't feel it. You might go years without symptoms while your arteries are quietly weakening under pressure. Another major trigger is irregular heartbeat, especially atrial fibrillation, or AFib. In this condition, the heart doesn't beat in a steady rhythm, which can cause blood to pool and form clots. If one of those clots travels to your brain, it can block blood flow and cause a stroke. The good news? AFib can be detected during a routine checkup, and there are treatments to dramatically lower your risk. So what can you do to protect yourself? Know your numbers. Have your blood pressure checked regularly, even if you feel fine. Aim to keep it within a healthy range, generally below 120/80, unless your doctor advises otherwise. Watch for mini strokes. Sometimes the body gives a warning. A transient ischemic attack, TIA, causes stroke-like symptoms, slurred speech, confusion, numbness, but they fade quickly. Even if the symptoms disappear, don't ignore them. A TIA is often a sign that a major stroke could follow within days. Move more. Sit less. Physical activity helps your blood circulate better and lowers stroke risk. It doesn't have to be intense. Walking, light stretching, or chair yoga all count. Eat to support your arteries. Whole foods like leafy greens, berries, olive oil, and nuts can help reduce inflammation and protect blood vessels. Meanwhile, cutting back on salt, processed foods, and fried items can improve your circulation and heart rhythm. Stay hydrated. Thicker blood, often caused by dehydration, increases stroke risk. Aim for 6 to 8 glasses of water per day, unless your doctor advises otherwise. Let me tell you about Walter, a retired mechanic from Ohio. He never thought much about his health until he had a TIA while mowing his lawn. He felt dizzy and couldn't find the right words to speak. It lasted less than a minute. He brushed it off. A week later, he had a full-blown stroke. The doctors told him, if he had come in earlier, they might have prevented it. Walter now shares his story with other seniors, because sometimes your body whispers before it screams. So if something feels off, don't wait. Speak up. Get checked. If this opened your eyes, type stroke aware in the comments. You just might inspire someone else to take action. Now let's turn to the final and perhaps most personal health challenge that impacts so many after 75. Cognitive decline and memory loss. Losing your keys, forgetting names, struggling to follow a conversation. At first, these moments seem harmless, just part of getting older. But over time, they can become signs of something deeper. Cognitive decline. For many people over 75, it's not a sudden drop. It's a slow fade, a quiet unraveling of memory, attention, and decision-making that changes how you live your daily life. And it doesn't just affect your mind, it affects everything. Cognitive decline can make it harder to manage medications, plan meals, recognize when something's wrong with your body, or even remember to drink water. It can turn a safe, comfortable home into a place of risk. One of the most serious outcomes is the loss of independence. It's not just about forgetting a birthday or misplacing your glasses. It's about the shift from living confidently on your own to needing full-time support. For many families, it's heartbreaking to watch a loved one slip away mentally while still physically present. Conditions like Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia are often behind this decline. But here's what's empowering. You can take steps to protect your brain, and the earlier you start, the greater the impact. Let's begin with something simple yet powerful. Mental stimulation. Your brain craves activity, just like your muscles. When you learn something new, play a memory game, or even have a deep conversation with a friend, your brain forms new connections. These small moments of stretching help keep the mind agile and delay mental decline. Even reading or doing puzzles can create what scientists call cognitive reserve, a kind of mental backup system that helps your brain stay sharp, even if damage begins to occur. Next is physical movement. Most people don't realize how closely the body and brain are connected. Walking, dancing, yoga, even gardening, all increase blood flow to the brain. That oxygen-rich circulation nourishes brain cells and supports memory, attention, and mood. And speaking of mood, staying socially connected is vital. Loneliness and isolation are more than just emotional burdens. They physically impact the brain. Seniors who feel disconnected are at significantly higher risk for cognitive decline and dementia. But the solution isn't complicated. Regular phone calls, a weekly lunch with friends, volunteering at your local library. These small acts of connection add up. They remind your brain that it matters, that it's still part of something bigger. And let's not forget diet. The foods you eat shape the health of your brain. Omega-3s from fatty fish, antioxidants from berries, vitamins from leafy greens, and healthy fats from nuts all protect brain tissue and reduce inflammation, one of the silent drivers of cognitive decline. On the flip side, diets high in processed foods, sugars, and trans fats are linked to a faster decline in memory and mood. These foods promote inflammation and blood sugar spikes, both of which are hard on the aging brain. Sleep also plays a role. During deep sleep, your brain clears away waste and strengthens neural pathways. Without good rest, memory and focus can slip more quickly. And finally, pay attention to early warning signs. Forgetting familiar names more often, struggling to follow a recipe or instructions, getting confused in familiar places, misplacing items, and being unable to retrace steps. If you notice these signs in yourself or someone you love, don't brush them off. Early action can lead to better outcomes. Let me tell you about Marlene, a 77-year-old retired teacher from Oregon. She started having trouble remembering recent conversations. At first, she laughed it off, but her daughter noticed she was repeating stories more and more. They visited a doctor and caught the issue early. Marlene began memory exercises, joined a walking group, and switched to a brain-friendly diet. 2 years later, her symptoms have barely progressed, and she's still living independently. It's a reminder that you're never powerless. If this resonates with you, drop a comment saying stay sharp and share one thing you do to keep your brain active. Because the steps you take today, no matter how small, can preserve your clarity, confidence, and joy in the years ahead. Let's take a moment to reflect. We've explored 5 major causes behind most deaths after age 75. Heart disease, falls, respiratory illness, stroke, and cognitive decline. Each one is serious. Each one can be life-altering. But here's the part many people overlook. They're not inevitable. With the right awareness and the right habits, you have the power to reshape your future. You can strengthen your heart, protect your lungs, sharpen your mind, and preserve your mobility. And it doesn't require perfection, just consistent, small steps in the right direction. You see, longevity isn't just about adding years to your life. It's about adding life to your years. Imagine being in your 80s or 90s, still walking independently, cooking your own meals, remembering your grandkids' birthdays, enjoying conversations, and truly living, not just surviving. That's possible. But it starts now with the choices you make today. A brisk walk after lunch, swapping one processed meal for something fresh and colorful, setting a reminder to drink water, picking up the phone to call an old friend, asking your doctor to check your blood pressure or review your medications, trying a new puzzle, book, or brain game. None of this requires drastic change. It just requires a little intentionality, a little love for your future self. You've already taken the first step by watching this video and learning what matters most. That's something to feel proud of. Now, we'd love to hear from you. What's one small habit you're going to change or commit to after watching this? Share it in the comments. Your story could encourage someone else who needs a little hope. If this video helped you in any way, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell so you never miss a video that could improve your life or the life of someone you love. Your support helps us continue creating practical, heartfelt health guidance for older adults who still have so much life ahead. So stay strong, stay hopeful, and above all, stay connected to your health, your loved ones, and the small steps that keep you moving forward. Thanks for being here. We'll see you in the next video.